Okay. My name is Kevin. I live in Southport. Um, Now, Danny asked me to do a bit of a warm-up, so we put the heating up. And they asked me if I'd do any if I had any blue material, so I wore this T-shirt. It's a designer T-shirt, so it's a Primani. So I bought it in the local shop here on Chapel Street, and they weren't very helpful. So I went into the changing room, or as you call it, shoplifting cubicle. And when I came out, I said to the assistant, you know what? There's no toilet paper in that cubicle. Luckily, I'd taken my own. So I made the mistake of moving to Southport a few years ago, and there's not, as you know, there's not a lot to do in Southport besides dying. I'm convinced the Southport Flower Show was invented because it had to keep up with the demands of the local cemetery. So, in a venture to find something to do, I decided to take a sailing lesson on the marine lake. And the teacher said to me, let's go out into the middle of the lake, so we did. And the wind took off, and I got hit on the side of the head by this big pole with a sail attached to it. And I said to him, what's that? He said, that's called a boom, on account of the sound it makes when it hits the side of your head. So I pushed him overboard. I said, you know what that is? That's called a splash. On account of the sound it makes when your body hits the water. So I continued to pursue adventure in Southport and decided to do a prostate examination. And I went to the doctors. I thought, I'll start with some small talk with him just to make things a bit more comfortable. So I asked him how he got into being a prostate doctor. He said, well, I started out as a ventriloquist. And it went on from there. So the exam started, and he said, I have to warn you before we begin that basically this examination might cause involuntary erection. I said, I never heard that. He said, I wasn't talking about you. So anyway, I said, how do I know what you're doing when you're rummaging down there? He says, don't worry, you can watch it on pay-per-view later. So then I went for an eye test, and the eye doctor came out and he said, I'm sorry to say you've got a lazy body. And I said, thanks a lot, call yourself an eye tester. I couldn't read a word of that eye test, it makes no sense. So anyway, following that I went home to watch the pay-per-view, and while I was watching it, a couple of old ladies rang the doorbell. So the first one said to me, have you ever heard of a book called the Bible? I said, no, but if you check on Amazon, they'll have it. The other one said, it's the greatest story ever told. I said, well, don't ruin it for me, I haven't read it yet. And as it turned out, it wasn't. The guy dies in the end. And it wasn't a very good whodunit either. So the World Cup's coming up next in Qatar, and despite being named after a respiratory illness, it's probably the best place for drinkers to get lashed. Usually about 30. I remember the last time I was in Qatar, I was a small child, and we were on the beach, or as they call it, a desert. And this Arab guy came up to me and he says to my dad, can I buy your son? He said, are you joking? He said, no, 50 camels. He said, no chance. He said, 100 camels. No chance. He says, we don't even smoke that brand. So I discovered recently that I hated my boss, and there's not a lot I can do about it because I'm self-employed. And as you know, in the life rooms I do a lot of courses. One of my favourites that I signed up for was mindfulness. I don't know if you know much about mindfulness, but it's all about inner peace, breathing, the teachings of Buddha, tranquility. And basically, anyway, the course got cancelled after a few weeks because the teacher went off with stress. I remember the last time I was here, I was stood outside there and somebody hit me over the head with a laptop. If you ask me, it's PC gone mad. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.